Coming up tonight on YCN News, Vermont Governor Peter Shumlin signs into law a bill that will gradually raise the state's minimum wage to $10.50 an hour. Brattleboro, Vermont holds its Strolling of the Heifers weekend. And Claremont, New Hampshire's Stevens High School holds its annual alumni parade. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth-Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening, and welcome to this Monday edition of YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. This weekend marked a feast of annual celebrations in Vermont and New Hampshire. It also ushered in, on a serious note, the raising of the minimum wage in Vermont. Governor Peter Shumlin signed into law today a bill that will gradually raise the state's minimum wage from its current $8.73 an hour to $10.50 by 2018. Shumlin says it is important to note that Vermont lawmakers did not wait for Washington politicians to get behind a bipartisan support of President Obama's call to hike the federal minimum wage. Instead, Vermont House and Senate members took it upon themselves to reach a compromise so that residents' lives could be improved with a wage increase. Vermont already is one of 26 states nationally, plus the District of Columbia, whose state minimum wage is above the federal minimum of $7.25 an hour. To prepare the business community, the wage will rise to $9.60 in 2016 and in 2017 to $10 an hour. 1 year later, it will be $10.50 an hour. After that, the minimum wage will be tied or indexed to inflation. As prices increase on food and gasoline, for instance, so the minimum wage can keep pace with the cost of living. 3 states bordering Vermont are on a path to also boost the minimum wage. This could give businesses looking for workers to stay in Vermont an edge. Connecticut's state minimum wage will be $10.10 in 2017. New York and Massachusetts lawmakers also are mulling an hourly wage increase. Dartmouth commencement speaker Shonda Rhimes urged some 1,900 graduates of the Ivy League College to pay it forward, the Valley News reports. Rhimes, a 1991 graduate of Dartmouth, told the overflowing crowd on the green that it was time to get down to business and put a plan into action. Dreams are fine as long as the hard work and diligence needed to realize a dream's vision become the day-to-day habit. Rhimes is the producer of 3 popular TV series, past and present, namely Grey's Anatomy, Private Practice, and Scandal. She also is the mother of 3 girls. Rhimes spoke proudly of her work, yet reminded the audience that her success in one area of life doesn't mean all of her life runs smoothly. Anyone who tells you they're doing it all perfectly is a liar. Rhimes got in one last dig to the graduates about how awkward it would feel the day after graduation. The transition from college student to young, working adult may take some getting used to. The beauty of a parade is in the eye of the beholder. Watching the shiny coats of horses saunter through downtown Brattleboro is a great summer memory for a child, as are the black and white colors of the cows strolling through town during the aptly named Strolling of the Heifers weekend. This year's parade marks the new and strong tie of this first weekend in June festival with a new downtown entity, the River Garden. The River Garden is a public resource aimed at showcasing Brattleboro's farm-to-table focus. Whether walking on stilts, or listening to a marching band, or sitting in a lawn chair along the sidewalk to watch the world go by, Saturday's parade offered something for everyone to enjoy. Weekend events began on Friday with a gallery walk and street festival and continued throughout yesterday. The summer season of outdoor activities continued in Claremont. Stevens High School held its annual alumni parade. The parade kicked off at 10:30 a.m. from the city center and lasted for about an hour. Floats from classes with graduation dates ending in 4 or 9 gathered for reunions. Military bands from New England took part, including Colonial Day reenactors. Plans for next year's parade already are in the works. One Stevens High School graduate returned to his hometown to meet with friends and sign copies of his memoir. Class of 1957 graduate and attorney Joseph Steinfeld shared memories of growing up in Claremont with visitors to Violet's bookstore on Saturday. Claremont Boy, My New Hampshire Roots and the Gift of Memory is a series of short stories familiar with older generations of Stevens students. For Steinfeld, the city has a familiar look for him, even after leaving for Brown University and Boston.
It feels like a dream. It's something you never expect in life, but it's a wonderful experience, and seeing a lot of old friends and classmates, it is a highlight of my life. It's a difficult question. Claremont looks like it always has looked, maybe not quite as I remember it as a child, but in many ways it's the same town I grew up in. Well, as I say in the book, growing up here was a very interesting and wonderful experience. The people here made a great impression on me. I've carried those memories through my life, and I've been happy to write them down in this book.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. History and the founding of New England were on full display in New Hampshire this weekend as well. One of New Hampshire's living history museums held special events to remember the colonial days in New England. The fort at Number 4, located in Charlestown, was the settlement for the British in the 18th century. Living historians welcomed guests this weekend to a reenactment of the French and Indian War that took place at the fort over 200 years ago. YCN's Dan Carbonera visited and spoke with some of those participating. Let's take a look. Historians brought the 18th century back to life with special dress, activities, and tours of the old fort at Number 4. Gates opened Saturday morning, welcoming the public to see and taste the colonial days with productions of campfire cooking, blacksmithing, and more.
The battle will take place on the river side of the fortification.
Shell deal, firelocks! 3 paces to the front, dismiss!
By afternoon, crowds gathered by the open field outside the fort to watch the much-anticipated reenactment of the French and Indian War.
My wife and I, who've been doing this for 15 years, raised our kids in this hobby, and they still do it. They love it. We're basically doing 2 French and Indian War events a year, and we'll do a Revolutionary War event here in September. The big push right now is War of 1812, because we're coming up on the 100th anniversary of a lot of those battles. Everybody does it differently. There are some people who are very, very hardcore about it, and will sleep out under a tarp, with the mosquitoes on top of hay. When we're out in front of people, then yes, we try to keep as close to the impression as possible. This is kind of like our home fort. It's great to come here. It's great to see the same people year after year. You make some very good friends, great friendships. Our regiment, the 27th, is really kind of like, we describe it as an extended family. It's something you do because you love it.
I portray a Delaware warrior allied to the French. Our desire, other than glory on the battlefield and revenge, is to protect our allies, who are the French. Above all, beat the English and protect the French, and that's the only way we're going to beat the English.
Rompez vos compagnies. Merci, monsieur. Vive le roi! Vive le roi! Vive le roi! Vive le roi! Portez le fusil!
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Now, Matt McDonald will have a look at our weather for the next few days and then move on to high school sports.
Thanks, Rose. Tonight we have a 50% chance of showers before 9 p.m. with cloudy skies and lows in the upper 50s. Tomorrow we have a high of 74 degrees with a 50% chance of showers and calm winds. Tomorrow night will be mostly cloudy with lows in the mid-50s and winds around 5 miles per hour. Wednesday will be partly sunny with highs in the 70s and calm winds around 5 miles per hour. Wednesday night will be cloudy with a 30% chance of showers and lows around 52 degrees. Our northeastern map shows storms brewing around the Ohio Valley. The rest of the week will see scattered storms with cloudy to rainy weather. On the radar map view, we can see a string of storms that are expected to affect us later in the week. Now let's see what's coming up on our community calendar. Tomorrow in Warren, New Hampshire, the Select Board will meet at 6 p.m. In Vermont, the Hartford Select Board will meet at 6:30 p.m. and the Windsor Select Board will meet at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Remember, you can submit local events from your community by sending them to news@ycnnow.com. And now it's time to turn to local high school sports. The Kearsarge Regional High School girls lacrosse team clashed with Bishop Brady High School on Saturday as part of the Division III quarterfinals. Kearsarge won the game with a 12-7 score. Kearsarge plays John Stark next in the semifinals tonight at Southern New Hampshire University. In baseball, the Sunapee Lakers defeated Profile School on Saturday 10-0 in a Division IV quarterfinal game. Sunapee is slated to play next against Pittsfield in the semifinals on Wednesday. The game will take place at Plymouth State University. In softball, Sunapee also won a game, this time against Colebrook High School. The final score was 2-1. This was a Division IV quarterfinal game. Sunapee will also face an opponent at Plymouth State on Wednesday. The opponent is Wilton Lynborough. Turning to New Hampshire Fisher Cats, New Hampshire native Kevin Nolan has a lot to be thankful for. Aaron McClory has more.
When Kevin Nolan was assigned to play AA minor league baseball, he was given the rare opportunity to play in his home state of New Hampshire. Growing up in Nashua, Kevin played baseball his entire life and didn't let the cold weather and few local opportunities stop him from pursuing his dream.
You know, growing up in New Hampshire and being a baseball player, it was very cold. So, you know, you had to make the best out of it during the summertime. And I played a lot of travel ball, and parents drove me around a lot to different travel ball teams. And but it was good. It was very good. Taught me a lot, you know, and had a great time at Nashua South. Won a state championship there, so that was a lot of fun.
When it came time to leave the state for college, Winthrop University in South Carolina was the right fit for Kevin, not only because of the warm weather, but also for the opportunities he was given to play ball.
You know, Winthrop was my top choice the whole time. It was down in South Carolina, which was nice. I really wanted to, if I could, go to somewhere warmer. You know, you know, they saw me play at a few showcases and tournaments, and I got to visit there with my father and fell in love with it right away. You know, great coaching staff there. They gave me an opportunity to play right away, and you know, we had good teams. You know, one year we struggled, but other than that, we had really good teams the other years, and we won a lot of games and met a lot of good guys and good friends still, and it was a lot of fun.
Coming out of college, it was Kevin's goal to get drafted. In 2009, he achieved his goal when he was drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays. Following being drafted, Kevin moved around minor league teams, making his way from the New York Penn League in the Class A short season, to the Midwest League in Class A, to the Florida State League in Class A Advanced. He eventually moved up to AA, landing with the New Hampshire Fisher Cats.
I had a goal to try to get drafted for a long time, and you know, that was one of my goals, go to college and learn a lot about the game, hopefully win a lot of games, and you know, hopefully have an opportunity to get drafted, and I was fortunate enough too. I played on multiple different teams, and I've learned a lot every year. You know, it's been a learning process every year, and try to get better on a personal note, you know, hitting and defensively, and I've learned a lot, and it's been a great journey.
Kevin's grateful for the opportunity to play baseball in New Hampshire and loves being so close to his family.
You know, they had me come here, and you know, very fortunate to come back close to home and play AA, and you know, my family's able to come to a lot of games, which is nice, and you know, they haven't been able to see me a lot over my pro career because it's been all over the place, but it's been pretty lucky. It means a lot. You know, I never forget where I came from. You know, it was a tough process to get where I'm at now, and coming back here is a constant reminder of where I come from, which is nice, and kind of keep me motivated.
As a shortstop on the team, Kevin is an impressive player on the field and at bat. But his teammates say that besides being a phenomenal player, he's a great guy to be around.
He's awesome, man. I mean, I don't really know him until this year, but just being around him the last couple of weeks, he's a good player. Everybody loves him in the clubhouse, so it's probably nice for him to be here in front of his home family.
From Nashua South High School to here in Manchester with the Fisher Cats, Kevin Nolan is a New Hampshire boy born and raised. He's a fan favorite not only because of his local ties, but because of his phenomenal skills on the fields. With YCN Sports, I'm Erin McClory.